I went from bronze to diamond completely solo in 10 hours in Marvel Rivals Ranked, and the things I learned along the way will help you to do the same. All of my games I played without any help from friends, and to do it, I followed some simple rules you can follow too. I'll break down my experiences in each ranked tier, giving insight into the best ways you can get out of each rank. Before I go through the best strategy for each tier, including a foolproof plan to get through Platinum, otherwise known as ELO Hell, let's go over 4 important ground rules. Follow these and you'll have a much easier time ranking up throughout the entire game. First, if you get a raging or trolling teammate, ignore them, don't reply. Wait a couple minutes after your match is over before queuing again, so you don't end up getting in another match with them. Second, win streaks are actually really important. Gaining rank points up to diamond is like a ladder. Win one game and you may get 30 points. Win another, it'll go to 34, and it could keep going up and up as you win more games in a row, up to about 60 rank points per game. If you lose a lot though, the amount you gain per match will drop down and you'll have to build up another win streak to get higher points again. So if you lose a couple games in a row, take a break and come back later with a refreshed mindset. Don't let yourself go on big lose streaks. It'll ruin the way you rank up. Third, don't flex or fill roles. You may see 3 insta-lock duelists at the start of a match and feel like you're forced to play support. You do not need to do that, especially in the early ranks. Play all of the roles in quick play so that you know what works best for you, and only resort to switching out later in the match if things aren't working out. There is nothing wrong with 3 duelists, or in early ranks even 4 duelists, because nobody really understands the way to play the game properly yet. Later on this will change and you will need to be a bit more flexible, so make sure to have some practice on tank and support, but understand that you playing support when you're not good at it is going to make you have a worse time ranking up. You may as well just go duelist. The fourth point is, even if you like to main a specific role or hero, you will need to practice the other roles as well, and sometimes it will be the best decision to win the game, so do keep that in mind. And like I say, this is extremely important in higher ranks. More on that later. Alright, so let's now break down how to rank up through each and every rank tier as quick as possible, starting with bronze. This is like the Wild West of Marvel Rivals, where nobody really knows what to do, or if they do know, they don't care to stick to the rules anyway. You might see a lot of silly comps like 5 DPS players or an entire team of melee heroes. It may feel frustrating not having enough supports on your team to heal you up, but the truth is, you don't need it at this rank. All you need to do to get out of bronze is learn how the map flanks work. Learn the map, learn how to rotate around enemies instead of just going down the same bottleneck over and over. Learn the health pack spawns and just shoot the enemies, focus on the objective, and rotate to the health packs when you need to heal up. To climb out of bronze, you don't need help from anybody. Flank behind the enemies by learning the map flanks, shoot the enemies in the back, and repeat. And try not to team wipe. I know this sounds weird, but if you kill the entire enemy team, they all come running back together as a squad. And nobody in bronze is thinking about sticking together, so if you kill the enemies in batches of 2 to 3, they'll keep running back to the fight one by one in a disorganized mess, making it easier to clean up. The best heroes for this rank are anything you can hit shots well with. I know a lot of people say Hela and Hawkeye are S tier, but the truth is, you need higher skill aim to be able to do really well with them. You'll have a much better chance at playing Punisher, Scarlet Witch, Iron Man, Star-Lord, because these characters have a lot of ammo and are really easy to go and flank players with and just take down players that don't really know what's going on around them. Let's talk about silver next, because you'll get through bronze pretty quickly if you follow the tips I've just mentioned, and doing the same in silver will mostly rank you up pretty quickly as well. But if you do struggle at any point to get through silver, then all you need to do is learn about ultimate economy. You will get your ultimate ability faster by doing more damage or healing. That means if you are constantly firing at the enemy as often as possible and having no downtime between shooting at them, you'll get your ultimate far often than others. You can literally just sit there and shoot tanks to build up your ultimate. So a good way to get through silver, if you're unable to use the same bronze flanking strategies for whatever reason, is just to farm your ultimate and use it as much as you can. A Hela ult, a Punisher ult, or a Star-Lord ultimate are my best suggestions, because these will always get you multiple kills in early ranks, because these players aren't as skilled enough at responding to these strong abilities. Don't always use your ultimate as soon as you get it though. Use it to force enemies off of objectives or to get them away from the point during overtime. And make sure your team is all alive when you use it too, because you'll want to kill a few players and then take advantage of having more teammates alive than enemies. If you use your ult when most of your teammates dead, it's kind of a waste. Also, if you're playing a character that can't one-shot Luna Snow during her ultimate, wait till the supports on the enemy team use their ultimate first, and then pop your ultimate, otherwise your ult's going to be pretty useless. Also, in Silver, once again, don't worry about your healers. You don't need them. Just using the health packs around the map will give you enough health as it is. They spawn back really quickly and you can go to different health pack spawns and you'll be completely fine. Learning how to move on your own, flank through the maps, and use health packs to heal yourself up at this point will be so important, and learning the map locations early on is going to help through all ranks. Next up is Gold rank. For some, this might feel like Elo hell, but it's not true. Gold is like a walk in the park compared to Platinum, and it's honestly easy to get through if you follow some pretty straightforward strategies. This is where players will start to develop a decent understanding of the game and the heroes and their overall abilities. This means most weird team comps will die out and you'll often have 2 tanks, 2 supports, and 2 DPS. The truth is though, support is actually the easiest role to do well with. Lower skill players can easily provide a lot of value through support, and lower skill players may struggle to provide that same value to their team on tanks and DPS. And with Gold being the first time players are sort of forced to try out different roles a bit more seriously, you'll see plenty of supports doing really well and tanks and DPS struggling. What this means is you can easily rank up through Gold by just focusing the supports. With them dead, you're taking away a massive amount of value that the enemy team has. If you just kill the supports over and over, you will win matches. And you can do that very easily by playing flank characters, Psylocke, Iron Man, Black Panther, or anyone like that can sneak into the backlines. Or play a dive tank like Venom, Captain America, and Thor, and focus all of your attention on the supports. You'll also see a lot of toxic players who flame their teammates, scream GG in all chat when things don't go perfect at the start, and overall just let their emotions ruin their own gameplay. Just ignore it all. Just pretend it's not there, don't respond to any of it, and just focus on your own gameplay. You solely can get through Gold alone just by destroying the supports. Literally, just kill the supports every single game, and you'll have a pretty easy time. Now, you'll still have some frustrating games, but you just have to shake them off. It's going to happen, but overall, you will have a decent enough win rate to get through Gold. Now, Platinum is honestly the hardest rank in the game to get through. People are now good enough at the game, but the main thing from stopping them ranking up is actually their own ego and behavior, which honestly makes it extremely difficult when you're solo queuing. The biggest opponents in Platinum are not even the enemy team, it's just your teammates. You'll get so many people rage quitting in spawn 2 minutes after the game starts, people getting mad at you if you die 2 times, and raging in all chat when things aren't going well. For most Platinum players, they believe they are always making the right decisions, they are the best player in their team, and everyone else on their team is the problem. Now, yes, one thing for sure, you will get bad teammates, and, they'll make some questionable plays, but you are never going to always be the best player on your team. No one is. Everyone in Plat is still learning the game, as much as it is hard to believe. So don't worry about what your teammates are doing, and just understand that you can still improve yourself, and focus on what's in your control, because your weird teammates are definitely out of your control. What is in your control is how you play each and every match. All you need to do to rank up is have a slightly higher than 50% win rate, which means mathematically you only really need to perform just slightly more than the average Platinum player to rank up. So how do we do that? Well, most of Platinum is less about how you play the game and more about how you play the game of emotions against your enemies. Sure, your teammates will be easy to rage and yell at you, but your enemies are just as likely to do the same to their teammates. What that means is you have to find a weakness in the enemy team and prey on it. Sometimes it might be the support, sometimes it's the DPS, or sometimes the healer. Somebody on the enemy team is going to have a bad game, and you need to identify that and use that to your advantage. At this point, you should know your own strengths already, and you should know what role you do best with, whether you're a flanker or like to stick with a team, and use those strengths to focus on whoever on the enemy team has the most deaths. You may think it's smarter to try and shut down the MVP because they're performing the best, but actually by picking off the weaker players, you'll have a better time going up against those good players once you have a numbers advantage on your team. Now, there's different ways to do this, but let me give you an example. I played Iron Man almost entirely. I just sneak around the map and try to 1v1 different opponents. What I'd find is sometimes I'd struggle to make picks against some players. And if I did, I wouldn't bother trying to fight them again. I'll just go and find another player to kill. You know, there could be 2 supports on the enemy team, a Luna Snow and a Mantis. And it turns out one of those players in particular was just kind of bad at reacting to me flanking them. So I would always go and kill that player and then go and join up with my team again in a 5v6. Also, if you start to notice anyone in all chat from the enemy team complaining about their DPS or their healer, for example, let's say you got an enemy player saying, "Oh, my healer's doing so bad," that player is tilted. So whoever that player is, just go and kill him. It's going to make him play worse, and it's going to make the whole enemy team just fall apart. I know it sounds a little bit weird, but playing like that is going to make your game easier, and you can focus on the weaknesses there and really play into that and get some easy wins. Now, that brings me on to my next point. You may have your favorite heroes already, but sometimes you will have to switch to counter your enemies. I like Iron Man, but if I notice an enemy Iron Man is just doing better than me and keeps beating me in 1v1s, I'll accept defeat. I'll switch up my hero and pick a good counter like Hela, and suddenly I'm the one winning the game. It's really easy to let your ego take over here and say, "Well, I can beat him. I've been playing Iron Man since game 1. I'm better than him." But if you keep trying to 1v1 him and dying over and over, you're losing the game. It's not your team, it's you. So sometimes switching up and just taking an easy counter is the better way to do it. You have to be the master of your emotions, not let yourself get in the way of you winning. Now, a good rule of thumb is if you can't get an objective moving, you're in a stalemate, or nothing's really happening, just look at the scoreboard and try and think of another hero you can play to counter the enemies, because it really does matter a lot. Also, if there is somebody on your team that's doing really badly, and it does happen, don't flame them. Just type in chat, "Hey, this isn't working. I'm going to do your role. Please, can you switch?" Now, that player may have a big ego and not like that decision and get mad at you, but you just got to go with it anyway. If there's a DPS on your team that's 2 kills and 20 deaths, you take the DPS role. Don't argue with him, just do it. And he will have to change his role. And if he doesn't, then that's on him. At least you can do a better job than he can. Sometimes that will happen. And you're not getting mad at your teammate. You're just suggesting that, "Look, you're having a bit of a bad game, mate. Why don't you try something else?" You know? That's an important thing to learn. Everyone sometimes has bad games, and you might have to pick up the slack there. Now, this also means that you might have a bad game, and sometimes that's hard to admit. But if I die 3 times in a row, I will consider switching hero or asking my teammate if I can be support. Like, I like duelists, but if I'm dying 3 times in a row, I just got to accept that I'm not doing a good job. I'll take the support role. I can do it. It's easy, whatever. Someone else take DPS. Like, you have to realize as well when you're underperforming and switch things up, right? And also, even if you win a match, it doesn't mean you played the best you could. If you're dying 10 or more times a match, there are definitely ways you can improve. Learn to try and stay alive as long as possible. The more time you are dead, the less time you have for your ultimate to charge up, and the less value you're providing for your team. So try not to die. The number one thing any player can improve on is reducing the amount of times they die. Forget about how many kills you get. Forget about how much damage you get. The number one thing for high performance is how many times do you die per match. That thing is the most important metric in the game that most people don't even talk about. Now, there's one more thing that can cruise you through Platinum Ranked. It is learning team-up combos. They are absolutely busted. If you're a duelist and you have Rocket Raccoon on your team, play Punisher or Winter Soldier. That infinite ammo ability is absolutely ridiculous. Or maybe you're seeing a Doctor Strange, you could play Hulk and give your Doctor Strange extra powers. Or maybe there's an Iron Man on your team, you could play Hulk again, give his ability extremely powerful damage. So using team-ups can be really good. Another good example, if you have an Adam Warlock on your team and you usually like to play, I don't know, Punisher or something, try Star-Lord, because every time you die, you get a free respawn. It's really strong. So team-ups will help carry you and could be that extra 1 to 2% you need to rank up. So that's everything. If you make your way to Diamond, you'll notice that gameplay improves a lot. At least Diamond 2 and onwards, people start to take the game a bit more seriously. They understand their own weaknesses and strengths, and the ban system will mean that you're not having to go up against one-trick Hellas and Hawkeyes. Hopefully you found this video useful. If you've got any of your own rank up tips, leave them in the comments and I'll see you there. Cheerio!